it felt like 5 cops must have been on top of me at that point, kind of, tugging on my arms and legs in different directions. Someone had a foot or a knee on my head or neck against the ground. I put my arm behind my back, which the way they were twisting my body, I couldn't do. They told me to stop resisting, but I wasn't resisting. I clearly identified myself as a journalist. I had a press badge on, and by the time they finally cuffed me and stood me up, I yelled at them repeatedly to grab my phone, which had fallen onto the ground. I kept screaming that I was a journalist and that I needed my phone, and they refused. And instead, what did they say? They said, shut the up. They called me a asshole.
I'm a journalist! Oh, fuck! I'm fine.
Give me a hand.
They're right here. Please get my phone. I can't get it. I can't get it around. I can't get it around. Stop resisting. I'm not resisting.
And there was a massive protest that started near a train station. They marched all over the neighborhood. And then eventually, in the evening, the cops started to get aggressive, and there were a ton of clashes. It kind of turned into a cycle of conflict where there'd be 2 lines of, the cops in riot gear, and then a line of protesters. Occasionally, some protesters would throw some projectiles, maybe a glass bottle or a stone. And usually when that happened, cops would charge and begin to kind of tackle and indiscriminately arrest and sometimes violently arrest protesters. They often deployed a lot of pepper spray. They used their batons. They sometimes dragged protesters across the concrete to bring them to the police van. And yeah, it was an incredibly chaotic and crazy scene.
You look at my press pass, I'm a journalist. You're arresting a journalist right now.
Then you should have gotten out of my way.
I did get out of the way. You ran past me. Can you please get my phone? It's right there. Get my phone.
Shut the up. You're not getting any phone.
Get him out of here. Let's go.
And then they brought me to the police van, and I went to the precinct, where I was put in a cell with 15 other guys. I was there probably in that cell for an hour or so, before being transferred over to another precinct where I was issued a summons for refusal to disperse and then released. I think, although as much as I think it's important to protect journalists' ability to cover these rallies, and what happened to me was definitely wrong, I think it's also important to often keep the focus on the thousands of other people that are getting arrested that aren't journalists and don't have the resources and privileges that we have.